You'll never believe where I am, but I'm actually in the dead center of Rome. This is going to be unrecognizable to most Americans, but in my opinion, it's one of the top things that you should definitely consider seeing when you're right here in Rome. It's one of the off the beaten path sites that you're not necessarily going to see on your first day, but maybe on the second or third day, it's just going to elevate your trip to the next level. I'm Angel Castellanos for the tour guide, and today we're doing a deep dive into all the off the beaten path sites that you should definitely check out. Rome's greatest hits are a given. Today we're chasing the ones that make you feel like you've cracked the code. We're starting at the Capitoline with power, art, and an exclusive epic view that recalibrates Rome in one glance. Then San Pietro in Vincoli, where Michelangelo stops time with a single statue. We then downshift over to the Aventine, the stone-cold hush of one of Rome's first basilicas, and an orange garden that is a secret hangout spot. We're also going to swing over to Castel Sant'Angelo, part fortress, part papal panic room, all atmosphere, just steps away from the Vatican. We're going to close the city loop at the Borghese Gallery. Intimate rooms, explosive genius, plus a park that begs for a slow walk. And don't bounce just yet. The finale is actually outside the center, where emperors and cardinals built the greatest villas ever made, Hadrian's Villa and Villa d'Este, plus an incredible hilltop castle less than an hour from Rome. Stay until the end for all the details and the exact game plan. The oldest museum in the world is not the Louvre, and it's not even the Vatican museums. It's right here in the dead center of Rome. It's the Capitoline Museums, started by Pope Sixtus IV in 1471. There's some pretty important pieces in here that you have to check out to really learn the story of Rome. You might not want to do that on your first day, but certainly consider it on your second or third day right here in the Eternal City. So if you want to check out the oldest museum in the world, you gotta come to Rome. Take that, France. Today I'm taking a tour with Paola, one of our licensed guides, who's going to make everything come to life, and with her I get to dive deep into the madness and beauty of ancient Rome, ask every wild question that comes to mind, and actually walk away knowing something real. At the Capitoline Museum, you'll see Constantine's dismembered head, the she-wolf nursing Rome's mythical founders, and more stolen Greek art that you can catalog in a day. The museum itself was designed by Michelangelo, because Rome just doesn't do average. Paola then leads me through the back door most tourists and influencers never see. And suddenly, there it is. A quiet terrace, a secret view of Rome with the Forum and the Colosseum spread out below like the city just exhaled. The pro move is to take a private tour of the Capitoline Museum to get the full story behind the statues, legends, and scandals of ancient Rome. The Capitoline gives you Rome's compass, power, art, and a terrace view that puts the whole city in order. It's cool inside during the summer, spacious enough for kids to roam, and blissfully uncrowded compared to other Roman sites. Now swap the panorama for a quiet gut punch inside of San Pietro in Vincoli, where Michelangelo's sculpture of Moses awaits. Rome is full of incredible treasures, and I'm inside of San Pietro in Vincoli. If you're a religious person, you may want to visit this church to see the chains of St. Peter, which are behind me. He was actually imprisoned in the Campidoglio Hill, not too far away from here, but also there's a spectacular Michelangelo that you can't miss. We know that Michelangelo had a close relationship with the Medici family, but their rival, Giuliano della Rovere, also hired Michelangelo, and he became Pope Julius II, and he commissioned Michelangelo to make his tomb, and it was an unfinished work, but at the dead center, we see Moses himself, and we see probably the most muscular Moses of all time. This is a completely free work that you can visit right here in San Pietro in Vincoli, and right above Moses is Pope Julius himself, relaxing and wearing the papal tiara. That's San Pietro in Vincoli. One room, one masterpiece, and straight up zero filler. Now it's time to chill out on the Aventine, orange garden views, and Santa Sabina's cool hush. To reach the Aventine, grab an Uber or taxi or drive up in a Vespa. My ride today is an eco-friendly tuk-tuk with our expert guide, Pascal. The Aventine Hill, one of Rome's original 7, sits quietly above the chaos, which is why most travelers miss it. Big mistake, because here, 3 of the city's coolest experiences sit side by side. Through that tiny keyhole, you're looking across 3 countries: Italy, Vatican City, and the Sovereign Order of Malta. Only in Rome could a peephole turn into a geopolitical mind trip. The path through the Orange Garden draws you in until suddenly you're on a terrace with locals, musicians, and travelers in the know, soaking in one of the best views in Rome.
It's beautiful in the morning, beautiful in the evening. Sunsets are beautiful here.
Right.
In between the Keyhole and the Orange Garden on the Aventine is one of the most underrated basilicas in Rome. My guide Pasquale just brought me up here to the Aventine Hill to Santa Sabina Church, and this is a 5th century Roman basilica built between 442 and 440. And as soon as you step inside, you get the sense of what a true Roman basilica is. A very wide, large meeting space characterized by the large nave, the columns that line the nave, and then you look up into the apse, that classic round shape up on top. This is just like being in a time machine. Incredible. If you like the vibe of the Aventine, then stay until the end because we're going to show you the best gardens in all of Italy. And by the way, don't forget to comment, like, and share this video, and please subscribe so we can keep bringing you great content. Now, we're going to cross the Tiber to the Pope's fortress, Castel Sant'Angelo. This is the Ponte Sant'Angelo, which originated in the 2nd century and is now considered a Baroque masterpiece. It's going to be full of people, and it's the path that most of us take to get from the left bank of the Tiber to the Castello Sant'Angelo. The walk across Ponte Sant'Angelo is Rome at its finest. If a bridge could preach, this one would. Legend says Bernini wanted each angel to express a different agony of the Passion. And don't sleep on visiting Castel Sant'Angelo, a fortress, a prison, a papal panic room. If you can imagine now, this trench here was filled with water, and this was a drawbridge connecting the main part of the castle to the external wall and battlements. Originally built as Emperor Hadrian's tomb, it became a refuge for popes during the times of siege. During the sack of Rome in 1527, Pope Clement VII spent 8 months here in the Castello as basically a refugee and a self-imposed prisoner because of the invading armies of Charles V. So he had to make this area a little bit comfortable for himself, and now we get to tour the sort of papal apartments in many ways. Inside the castle, you'll see one of the best frescoed rooms in all of Rome. This room is the Pauline Chapel, and it's frescoed completely in this humanist style. And what's extraordinary about it is Pope Paul III, the Pope, honored a Roman emperor, Emperor Hadrian, one of the top emperors of all time, whom the Castello was actually built for as a mausoleum. On the opposite side of Hadrian, we have a fresco of Saint Michael the Archangel. This room is extraordinary, and you don't want to miss it on your visit to the Castello Sant'Angelo. Don't forget to climb to the top, to hang out, and to watch Rome unfold beneath you. The big payoff here is to come to the bar and either enjoy a light lunch or a coffee, and if you're here later in the afternoon, you can even have aperitivo here with spectacular views of St. Peter's Basilica. The Villa Borghese is Rome's art on turbo speed. You have Bernini in 360 degrees, Canova's Pauline Bonaparte as Venus Victrix, Caravaggio up close without the crowds, Titian's Sacred and Profane Love. Reservations are definitely mandatory, so book ahead. And by the way, a guided tour levels up this place. It's like cramming the Louvre into a luxury Roman villa. When your slot ends, step straight into the Villa Borghese Park for a breather, leafy paths, a little lake, and the Pincio Terrace views before you dive back into the rest of the city. Central Rome gives us the monuments and headlines. Now we're stepping off script. About an hour from the city, emperors and cardinals built their escape plans, and they still work. The first stop is Hadrian's Villa, the emperor's private world. Then we're sliding up to Villa d'Este, where the Renaissance went wild with water offering cool shade when Rome is melting, both of which can be easily booked as tours from Rome. If you want to explore the region independently, cap it off with a hilltop fortress, Castello Orsini-Borghese, a quiet stronghold with big views and zero crowds. There's no doubt that Emperor Hadrian was one of the greatest emperors of all time. In central Rome, we have the Pantheon, the Temple of Venus in the Forum, and the Castello Sant'Angelo in his name. But 45 minutes outside of central Rome, he built one of the greatest villas ever. It's twice the size of ancient Pompeii. Hadrian's Villa is the Roman Empire unplugged, an emperor's private sandbox where travel memories turned into architecture. It was built by a road trip emperor, Hadrian, who collected ideas from Greece, Egypt, and beyond, then rebuilt them right here. You're walking across a mashup of his favorite places: palaces, libraries, theaters, and baths spread across a countryside estate. This long waterway is the Canopus, named for Egypt. Summer banquets happened in the shaded grotto at the end, which created natural AC courtesy of the wind and water. You can look for copies of Greek statues along the edge because Hadrian's taste ran classical, not flashy.
One of the spots that you have to check out when you're here at Hadrian's Villa is the Maritime Theater. And this was Hadrian's private quarters, so it's pretty special. You don't want to miss this one.
This circular island retreat called the Maritime Theater was Hadrian's hideout and design lab, a ring of columns, a moat-like channel, and it once had a drawbridge. The estate is almost twice the size of Pompeii and 3 times the size of Vatican City. There were private areas like the Maritime Theater, but also public areas like this that were just as beautiful.
Emperor Hadrian, who was an architect, shocked the world when he built his private bathhouse. And for the first time in architectural history, there was a flat wall lined up against a curved wall just like this. And in the 17th century, when Bernini and Borromini came here, they were so inspired, it changed the face of architecture in Rome, what we call the Baroque today.
After 2 packed days in the city center of Rome, this is the reset. Fewer lines, more shade, and an easy read on how the empire actually lived. It also pairs perfectly with nearby Villa d'Este's fountains. Do them together and you'll feel like you've cheated the itinerary.
If you're interested in taking a day trip outside of Rome after seeing the heavy hitters in the city center, don't worry, we got you. There's plenty of options on our website, or you can check out the link in the description below. Villa d'Este is undoubtedly one of the most important sites you can see within the proximity in Rome. Without it, there would be no Schönbrunn, there would be no Versailles. But when you first enter the villa, you'll get into this courtyard, which looks pretty interesting, but it's pretty plain. It's a former monastery. You have to actually go up and into the villa to really appreciate its grandeur. So let's go. Cardinal Ippolito d'Este came from a wealthy family and certainly knew how to entertain people. So when he wanted to build a summer residence outside of Rome, it was no surprise to anybody that it would be absolutely spectacular. And what he came up with is now known as the Villa d'Este, and ever since he built it in the mid-16th century, it has been the center of intellectuals and the artist community because of its extraordinary beauty.
Architect Pietro Ligorio diverted Tivoli's Aniene River into hillside cisterns, using no pumps, just gravity, feeding hundreds of jets so the gardens could burst to life with water. Walk it top to bottom, the oval fountain, the long hundreds fountain, Neptune's roar, and the organ fountain that literally plays music with water. Duck inside for a quick hit of frescoes, but the gardens are definitely the headline. Cool shade, moving air, and camera candy at every step. This is the playbook after Tivoli. Medieval lanes, castle walls, and views for days. Let's do this.
The thing about this area is if you're not into churches or monasteries, there's plenty of other things to see, like castles. Now, this particular castle was started in the 2nd century and wasn't finished until the 1300s. And São Paulo changed hands over time, going from one aristocratic family to the other. For example, it started with the Orsini family, then Cesi, and eventually the Borghese family. And when you step inside of places like this, you're going to find out that history actually happened here. For example, the first scientific community founded by Galileo Galilei and Prince Federico Cesi started right here in São Paulo.
This hilltop stronghold watched over the Aniene and Sabina valleys. Orsini nobles turned a medieval outpost into a proper fortress. A century later, the Cesi family took over and by 1603 used it for the newborn Academy in Sciences, with founder Galileo Galilei himself as an important guest. After the 1656 plague, it passed to the famous Borghese family.
So from the outside, this is just a classic stone fortress. But once you step inside, we're instantly transported to the 1500s. You have beautiful frescoed rooms to help make the aristocratic families who hung out here, especially during the summer months, a little bit more comfortable.
Interiors open irregularly, often for events and guests. So check ahead or plan it as a scenic stop paired with Hadrian's Villa and Villa d'Este.
Well, that's it for our time here in Lazio. I'm Angel Castellanos for the tour guide. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and smash that bell so you can find our next video. Happy travels.